Continue watching if you want to learn how to be an absolute bastard to your opponent this season. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xaereth Teaches Bastard Lessons. Like, your opponents are going to think that you are illegitimate. It's going to be a ton of fun. And I do have a defensive or an offensive teams video as well. It's going to be released at the exact same time as this. You can find the link to that in the video description, or you can find it at the end of this video. You can just click on it. It'll be below my face somewhere. And I also did put out this video of how to use like a lot of the off-meta teams that we're going to see this season in you can watch that and see a more practical explanation of some of the things I'm going to be talking about. That's also going to be linked in the video description. And huge shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all of your support. And guys, if you want to mount the algorithm or support the channel for free, you could mount the algorithm and subscribe, comment, like. It's gonna be one heck of a season, guys. Come watch me on Twitch. That's linked in the video description as well. It's free to come watch, catch me live, watch my older videos, my GAC replays. If you can't catch me live, they're gonna be there for about 2 months straight, and you could. It's not like I'm the worst player ever. I'm usually in the top 100, top 50, something like that. I think I've gone 6-3 the last 2 or 3 seasons, something like that. So anyways, let's jump to it here, folks. It's going to be, gosh, this is such an interesting thing. Whoa, we're in the game. This is such madness, guys. Who would have guessed we could be in the game? Wow. So here's the thing, guys, and this is going to be a tricky one because I love to do the off-meta counters. I love to make sure I have a really good defense and, to use some weird off-meta teams, which means we kill Galactic Legends with teams that are not, they're not Galactic Legends. But there's so many caveats because you have to make sure all the boxes are checked. And I talked about this a little bit. We're not going to talk about it much here, but I put a list here of, in the offensive teams video toward the end, of like all the different teams that, as long as you have these teams and the right datacrons, the right setup, you can actually counter all Galactic Legends using those teams, and you could in theory, put all remaining Galactic Legends on defense. And so you could totally do that. That is absolutely an option. You should also realize, folks, that this set is this 5v5 is going to be driven by the level 3s, well, the level 6s and 9s as well to a degree, but the madness starts with level 3. You have the light side protection up crons that, as light side characters take damage, they get a bunch of protection up, which is a function of how much health they have, in fact, so just a lot of extra hit points. And then the one that's truly overpowered and going to be fairly disturbing and disruptive this season is going to be all the doubt that that's being caused by Darkseid on the level 3. Now this is a really good one to try to get. Both of them are really hard. They're both really tough to get as well because it's weighted against you. The odds are weighted against you for actually getting them. So, but we're going to build our defenses based off of the number of off-meta stuff that we have available and hoping that our opponents are going to get tripped up by something of ours. It's going to be somewhat of an efficiency meta, or at least an off-meta meta. It's going to be, man, I'm kind of excited and kind of nervous for it because we're going to see all sorts of weird stuff. Come watch me on Twitch to see how I manage the different adaptations as people throw new weird stuff at me, because I'm facing a lot of really truly skilled players and crazy huge accounts. So anyways, Jabba could be on defense. The problem with Jabba on defense is, on offense, he kills a lot of stuff. You have the Boosh Cron for one more season, and this team is really going to do a lot of damage on offense. The thing is, it dies super easily to Afra. If the opponent has Afra, which a lot of people are starting to unlock and get, then it dies pretty easily to Afra. So putting it on defense will lose to an off-meta team, but all these teams are going to lose to that. So I don't know if we should be too concerned or not, to be honest, but one way or another, the Jabba team on defense will probably add to the strain of your opponent trying to get through your defenses quite a bit. If you can't manage to kill Leia without a different team, though, you might want to look at that, get that looked at, folks. We also have First Order Stormtrooper. If you put this team on defense, you want Stormtrooper here instead of First Order Officer. And remember, you need that doubt cron to stop people from totally destroying you. That being said, I mean, there's probably a lot of teams that are still going to beat the Supreme Leader Kylo team. I would really love it if he got a lifter unit at some point. I don't know who it would be, but it would be fairly cool. Maybe get him like Darkside Rey or something. That would be cool with her sharp teeth. Yeah. So one way or another, this team on defense could be decent. I know a lot of people like to use this as kind of their crutch, honestly, and I get that, but this team on defense with doubt and stopping them, I mean, you're already stopping them from gaining turn meter, but doubt also stops them from gaining any kind of buff as well. And I don't know, I'll probably experiment with this team on defense. On this account, maybe I'll keep him on offense. I'm not 100% yet. Now, we also have Rey on defense. I think she's been a pretty stalwart one. You want that protection up cron, of course, just to make him more thick. And so what I'm going to do on this account, because I don't have L3 or Barriss, really, I think Holdo's probably an okay option because she's a decent tank. She's got the good faction synergy, and she's able to, you'll get rid of the foresight from Jedi Training Rey, and she'll immediately taunt, and it can cause issues with Rey, charging up her ult and her offense to be able to, her mastery, I should say, to be able to just destroy people. This is a pretty good team. I like this version. Holdo's probably the weak link, but it's not too bad. The other thing that I think people are going to be doing, some at the very least, is so Bando he'll cause problems on offense. I think putting him on defense is also, especially when Rey can protect him. If you put the pre-taunt with his two smuggler or scoundrel buddies, they're not smugglers. They're way better than that. They're better people, damn it all. But we have Ben, obviously, he always goes with Rey. And then these other three, remember, if you have the Bando cron, you could probably, there's not a lot of AoEs here, but Queel is still buffing him. And then if Rey, I don't know if it's on defense, if Rey's going to put her, whatever it's called, buff onto Beskar Mando. What's it called? Lifeblood. Dear Lord, that was way more challenging for me than it should have been. But he'll be able to kill a lot of stuff. You could also keep this for offense and kill like Lord Vader with it if you really wanted to. Probably, it's a pretty good one. You want that cron. This team doesn't make sense if you don't have the data cron to go with it. But you get all those whistling birds, really compounding all the damage that he can do. It's pretty cool, and it's gonna pull something pretty good, I think. Not to mention, if people are using Starkiller or Malicos and stuff, the amount of control that you're going to have against that team is going to be a lot, just because IG dispelling all the buffs, him getting a lot of bonus turns because of the damage that they're doing, or they're taking, and I don't know, it seems okay. Like I wrote here, it seems okay. It's experimental. We'll see if it actually sticks around. I think I have a different version of the team later that we can discuss. So, Jedi Master Kenobi. Here's what I learned, folks. Don't put the cron, the auto kill, the no revive cron, onto this team unless you're facing someone who probably doesn't know how to use Inquisition. If you're facing someone in the top guilds, this team, you really want to be able to, I mean, I guess if you could do that if you take double tank on this team. You'd really need mace here, and it causes issues. Commander Ahsoka Tano can just one-shot Reva, of course, against Inquisition, but then, even if that happens, a lot of times Inquisition still end up killing Kenobi, though it's more messy. It's just, you want the double tank here, folks, and the protection up cron probably messes with the Inquisition a little bit, at least. So, I don't know, my relics just aren't really where they should be to put them on defense. I'll probably still do it, but I'll just probably lock the doors and hope they don't have blasters, really. I mean, that's really what I can do for this team, but, I mean, yeah, Kenobi still kills most of the GLs out there. He probably, I mean, he's fine on offense, just not as fine. Okay, so here we go, folks. Let's descend into madness. We could put Leia on defense, but there's so many different options. I really just can't get into all of them, honestly. But so the lock is usually you want Leia, or the foundation you want Leia, R2, and Drogon. And then, because people are going to be using Mon Mothma to counter you, typically Captain Rex is going to stop them a lot because of days, because of his reactivity to things. And Old Ben also gains a lot of turn meter as people are getting hit. And so I actually remodded him. I need to, over the course of time, I need to be upgrading these mods to 6E, but got a lot of health, got a lot of defense for him, and the idea just is that, let's see, whenever another Jedi or Rebel ally takes damage, Old Ben gains turn meter, so that's cool. He has some reactivity. The other element, folks, is if you were to take R2 and Captain Drogon out, it makes the team hit way less hard. Of course it does, but these two can be slotted elsewhere potentially. And if you put Kanan in, or if you put Kanan into one of these other slots, it makes it so that your opponent, if they don't know about it, they have to take Cassian to do the healing immune, or Kanan just won't die. And because you're already breaking your Phoenix team up, because you're using Rex here, then Kanan can probably be spared, and you can use Old Ben with like Starkiller or something like that if you really wanted to. Or you could do both Jedi tanks and Rex, and then go without R2 or Drogon. That's your call, but that's to defend against Mothma, and then of course you're gonna just lose to some other thing. But you know, at least we're doing something to address something. And honestly, guys, I just put this Phoenix team down here just to point out. I put it out in my offense teams video as well. That they rely so much on crazy turn meter gain that against Doubt, this team is just kind of broken if you're playing against someone who is using Doubt. And so even though this team just destroys like Inquisition typically, they're not going to do that usually in this season, unless your opponent just doesn't use datacrons, which a lot of people in lower Kyber levels just don't, so you might look out. Now, this Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, I'll probably have a decent chance of keeping it for offense or defense. I'm not really sure, like, with the low relic levels on this team that I currently have for this account, putting it on defense might just mess with someone and make them overconfident. Because a lot of the advantage that you have using this team is mechanical, but the extra relic levels are nice to be able to do extra damage. Of course, Scout Trooper at relic 8 is going to do a lot anyways. Death Trooper, even without good mods or good relics, is going to do quite a bit of damage as well with the Dark Trooper Moff Gideon cron. And honestly, I don't know what else is beating this other than like a couple specific Galactic Legends. And I mean, maybe if you get super lucky with Adrad, maybe I think I'm probably going to try to use Sith Empire to counter it. I think that's typically what I'm going to be using to try on this. We'll see if it actually works, but that's the plan, at least for now. General Skywalker, I just don't like how he works on offense, because he just loses. He hemorrhages banners. I've always just liked putting him on defense. Usually people counter him pretty easy. You can put a protection up cron, whatever, but you know, if you don't want to put Rex with Leia, or with Phoenix, or with a Saw team, which Saw really likes him, Captain Rex can also go here. You can slot him in and take Arc Trooper out, and you have a significantly tougher team to beat. So you can do that. Have fun. Knock yourself out. Literally. So we have Qui-Gon here. And I don't have any Galactic Republic characters to spare. So here's what I'm doing here, folks. First off, Kelleran Beck, pretty good. Even without his Zetas, he's okay. You can see I'm farming him as fast as I can. He'll eventually have his Omicron and his Zetas, but I don't have any Zetas. So do we accumulate one Zeta per 6 months or something? I swear I'm just not getting any. But I mean, I am, but yeah, so you want the core 3, you want them to be fast, all that stuff. And then I put Kit Fisto here because I don't have another good Galactic Legend or Galactic Republic. And the idea is if they do an AoE, they'll immediately get Kit Fisto into red. And, he won't die because Qui-Gon will keep him alive. But then that'll trigger Anakin, which, against Bad Batch or something, they'll dispel all the things. And then Tech will try to stun everyone. And it could really mess with their plans if Kit Fisto then goes under his, his health amount, and Anakin breaks free heroically. So, I mean, it's a gimmick. It's a lot of good players aren't gonna be messed with it too much, but just a thing that, you know, it's a trick that you can kind of use that, especially I'm not gonna have a Datacron anyways. Kit Fisto, he's not gonna do anything other than potentially mess with people. Now, if you have a good Saw, you need his relic level, obviously. Or, you know, you need him relic. I don't have Cara Dune relic either. But Turret and Baze, this team is going to be really good on defense, probably good on offense as well, though I think I would want to just on defense just to mess with people. And I mean, Saw's a good guy to be working on. He needs 2 Zetas, he needs an Omicron, he needs 7 relic levels if you want to do the Rise of the Empire mission, but like special mission and everything. And then I need Cara Dune to be relicked. You can see I do have a lot of pieces on him. I intend to work on him someday, but dear Lord, there's only so much you can do. I mean, I got Turret to relic 5. So if you have the Turret Cron, that's great. We'll talk about the Bodhi Cron in a little bit. Now, the Iden team, if I had more troopers relicked, we can use Stark, we can use Range Trooper, because kind of the Piet, the Veers Piet Dark Trooper version of troopers is kind of just shut down quite a bit by the Doubt Cron, and so Iden is great if you put the Doubt Cron on her, and then you can use the team as a decoy. They're going to do a lot of damage as well with all the extra offense that they get for the Empire level 6. This team is going to be pretty good if you actually have. I mean, I probably end up keeping it for offense and then go undersized with it because I just don't have the I don't have the troopers to be able to keep up with it. Remember, guys, just because Dark Trooper really would like to have a home, he doesn't go well with Iden. He breaks a lot of parts of her kit, so don't use Dark Trooper here, or Veers, or Piet, for what it's worth. Or do, and lose, and I'll laugh. And, okay, so the Zorii team, guys, the best combo right now to make sure that Night Sisters don't kill you is Rose, probably with her Omicron, Zorii with her Omicron, so I don't have either one of them. This team is just going to be, it's just going to hemorrhage banners for me, isn't it? Gosh, what a mistake. But this team is going to be on defense, probably, and then you want OG Poe to go with Rose. Like that's, in my opinion, that's the best because it stops all of the really cheap counters from working. I mean, probably still like a good Revan team beats it or whatever, but for the most part, like this team against like really bad Night Sisters beat the hell out of this team if there's no Rose. If there is Rose and if there's Poe, Night Sisters really struggle. So you know, you want to shut the door to Night Sisters and force them to use something more valuable. And if they don't happen to have the right counter, they try to go too cheap, you kind of get them, catch them red-handed. And honestly, guys, use that set 12, the purple Datacron set, if you can, because you have so many buffs on you that every time you take a turn, you get boosted offense, and over the course of time, if your opponent doesn't kill you fast enough, you just start one-shotting his guys, and it's a lot of fun for you. Now, the final team that you can put on defense, folks, if you wanted to, Dash with Bando. You could probably find room for Hondo somewhere. I don't have him listed anywhere, but this team also works on offense. It's decent. Remember, because Bando's not going to die unless you kill Vander Chewie, but there's a pre-taunt here. Queel keeps IG-11 alive, and as everyone else dies, Vander keeps reviving them. Eventually, Bando, if you do too much damage, he can heal them, but then eventually, if the stars line up, then he's able to get his whistling birds and destroy everyone's faces because that's the kind of person he is. And with that, folks, I believe that, oh yeah, let me show you a couple of more advanced teams from my main account and we'll get you going. All right, here we are on my main account. We're almost at 13 million GP here, guys. Pretty crazy, though. I think someone's like at 14.7 still, so there's still people with almost 2 million more than me. Anyways, we've got, so this is the same. This is what that Fin Zorii team should kind of look like with the Omicrons, and you know, Poe probably should put more relics on him, but I mean, I'm not made of relics don't grow on trees, folks. I don't know if you realize that, if your parents ever lectured you on that, but they should have. Now remember, the Omicron doesn't work on in 5v5. It's only a 3v3 GAC one, so not as crazy good. But Tuskens still have a really good datacron, and so on offense or defense, I think I put them on defense, honestly. And then even when their cron should just go away after a month from now, I'm guessing they're still going to be pretty good on defense with the doubt cron. They can just kind of transition over to that, so we'll see how that goes. Here's the Saw team as kind of it should be. I would love it to be all Relic 8 if I could, but so it's kind of a battle of ideologies here, folks. And honestly, I was thinking about, so Bodhi's datacron is really good, and what it does is it gives you a lot of turn meter and really boosts your team quite a bit. You take a lot of turns, all of that stuff. The problem with that is if you're facing if someone is attacking with doubt and your whole team has doubt, you're not getting any turn meter because of doubt, and so you're kind of just shut down by that for like the whole battle almost. So using a Bodhi cron is pretty cool, but it's also it's impractical against a lot of things, whereas the turret and base one, sure, doubt also stops them from gaining all the heals over time, which is what powers them, and so doubt kind of messes with both Saw teams, but I think I prefer the turret and base squad. Remember, with the Bodhi squad, you kind of want to reduce their turn meter as much as you can, so like Biston is maybe an okay option. You could even honestly just keep turret and base there and just use the Bodhi cron, that if you want to simplify things and just experiment. Kara does an AoE that reduces turn meter and stuff, so this team is pretty good, especially with the Omicron, everything. This is definitely a luxury team, but it is quite good. Jawas, I don't know, if we find a good opportunity to use Jawas, I'll probably try to use them. There's a few teams that probably you could use it like against Starkiller if someone put it on defense. I wonder how it would do. It'd probably lose to Inquisition, though maybe you could kill most of the Inquisitors before you died. Probably what would happen is you time out on Riva, but the rest of the Inquisition would die. Maybe like CLS team would die. If you have the Kron, if you have them all Relic, I guess 3 or whatever, one of Scavenger at Relic 3 or 5. And then finally, guys, and this is the one that only 3,000 counts have, but if you have Bo-Katan Mandalore, probably in 3s they were good. It was good on defense, but on I think it's going to probably just stay on offense and just kill a Galactic Legend or a really good team every single time, because it's ludicrous speed. Man, this team is just so crazy strong, and it could probably mess it up on defense, but on offense, probably not. Probably does some cool, crazy stuff. So that's it for you guys. Tell me what teams are you planning on using? Is there something more complex? I would love to hear what your thoughts are on offense and defense. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.